Welcome to Hufu Adventures. Most people post on social media how wonderful their life is and how great it is. Well, on our summer camping trip 2022, it wasn't all fun. It had its challenges. In this episode, we're going to tell you what went wrong. Enjoy. And we had bought this new RV Garmin to direct us. And when I put the address in, I searched for the campsite, and I didn't notice that the address wasn't quite right. The one that it picked up was really close, but not exactly where we were supposed to be. So we got into a little bit of a detour on the way to our campsite.
And the directions are taking us down this road, and there are these workers out on the road. There's like this big cutout in the cement and these cones up, and there's like this little area to go through. I'm like, Buzz, this doesn't look like the right way. And he's like, no, the Garmin's saying it. We gotta go this way. So we continue down, and it says no outlet. I'm like, this is not it. No outlet? Wait, Buzz, are we sure?
Arriving at Full Hollow Lake.
Problem we had on our heater, it would come on at night and then just kick off after a couple seconds. What we might need to do is at some point, if it keeps happening again, get that valve replaced. Here's an update on our RV heater situation. Well, so we tried it that night and it wouldn't go on again. It still kicked off. So we told him about it. He came by and stopped by and tried replacing the regulator on our RV while we weren't here. It was on the outside of the RV. So he replaced that. It didn't work. So he had to come back again. He came back out this morning to take a look at it with his son. And there's another part that they think that commonly goes bad, a sail switch or something. And he's going to get a replacement for that. So he's going to come back out later today and fix that. So on goes that saga. And then I was hearing a grinding noise sounded like the front left tire of my pickup truck. So I thought, it probably needs a wheel bearing. So I took it in to Big O Tires in Cottonwood. They listened to it and they said, yeah, it sounds like that's what it is. So I had them replace that. A couple more things that went wrong was the right brake light on my pickup truck went out. So we had to replace that. Then the backup camera screen, the display screen, just wouldn't power on. So we went without our backup camera most of the summer. Another issue that we had was in our tank caddy. When I was emptying the tank one day, I'm driving up there and somebody came up behind me and said, did you know that your wheel is about to fall off? I got to looking at it and no, I didn't know that. I couldn't tell because it's behind me and I couldn't see it. So I thanked the guy and he told me that these wheels often go bad. And so here's my old wheel, and you can see that around the wheel, the plastic just broke. In an earlier video when we were at Caldwell, Idaho, we were disconnecting and we didn't have the Y splitter on the water because I left it at the previous campsite.
You're not taking the water off, are you, Buzz, for me?
Like the rinse, remember?
Oh, and then you have to put it back on? Oh, because we don't have the splitter. So usually we have a splitter. You'll see that another time.
So we had to buy a new one. So we went into the store after that and bought a new one. And I wanted to show you, this is my little Y connector that I use as a rinse out, a clean out to the sewer. And since I didn't have that Y connector before because I left it, I had to disconnect the water and then connect this. And I use separate hoses just because I want one for my fresh water coming in and one for my clean out, just in case it backs up. I've got shutoff valves here, but just in case, I've got a separate hose for that. Now in this case also, because the way the water pipe was facing, it was facing that way, and this clean out hose is a lot shorter, so it was just barely long enough. It wouldn't have actually been long enough because of the way that this water faucet is, but I had an elbow connector that Carol said, why don't we get an elbow? So a while back we got we got that. And we actually got two, and I think I left one at one of the campsites. When I was disconnecting, I set it down. So we used to have two of these, but we've only got one. And then right below that, I've got my water pressure regulator, because sometimes you get to these camps and the pressure is very, very strong. It's too strong and it can damage your rig. So it limits the pressure so it doesn't overload your system. After pumping the gas, I went to start up my truck and it wouldn't start. The battery wouldn't turn over. It was dead. And I was shocked. How could the battery be dead? I just got a new battery a year ago. It was about 4th of July last summer. It shouldn't be dead now. I pulled out my jumper cables. We tried to jump it, but it wouldn't go. Nothing. I was just shocked. It's like the battery was totally dead. And another guy came over to help. He says, well, make sure that the connection is good. Still nothing. Then another guy that worked there came over. He checked it, and he says, oh, here's the problem. I think this is it. The negative side on the battery, the connection, was like loose.
Crazy thing happened when we were driving from Shampooey State Heritage Park to the coast. A lot of the roads were windy and sharp turns, and didn't even realize it. But what it did was when I went to check things in the bathroom, all the clothes, I should say all, but a good portion of them, all hangers came off of the rod. And then last night I was getting into my drawer to look at for my earrings and take my earrings off and put them somewhere. And I noticed that I had a lot of earrings missing, like a pair and then two separate ones, two pairs. And I'm like, where did these go? I looked everywhere, took everything out of the drawer. And this is what happened. So this is the drawer, and usually I would keep them in a bowl, like right here. Well, with all the turns that happen, and I don't know, I'm gonna bring this down here slowly. You can see that there's an opening here. And apparently they must have flown out and gone back through there, which is where the hot water heater is. So I looked there with a flashlight last night, and it looks like my earrings are down there.
Our kitchen sink began to drain really, really slow. Then we did some research and found out that it was the sink P-trap that had gotten clogged. One night, in the middle of the night, we had forgotten to open our air vent in the RV. I don't know why, maybe because it had rained or it was really, really cold, but for whatever reason, we hadn't opened the vent, and you always have to leave it open. So about 12:30 in the morning, the CO2 detector went off, the alarm went off in the middle of the night. Thanks for watching. Join us next time as we share with you what we ate on our summer camping trip 2022.